to the panel discussion from Monkeemania Radio, which is a radio station that launched just a few years ago. And we're honored this weekend not just to be part of an event that's so monkey-centric and have had such a great time sharing time with everybody, but the fact that 4 of our on-air personalities are in one place at the same time is a first, and hopefully there'll be many other opportunities. But this was great because we want to introduce you officially to Mick Lawless, who most of you already know, not just from Monkeemania Radio, but from the Nevermind Shop and the
Frodis Room.
Salute and the Frodis Room, and endless credits. And Scott Catton, a long-time amazing on-air DJ, who we're honored to have here with his brother Steve in the back. Hey, Steve. Most of you know me. I'm Mickey Dolan's illegitimate son, Charles. I'm one of many. Anyway, we'll tell you a little bit about the station, probably a lot of stuff that you already know, but more importantly, we want to make this very interactive. We want you to ask questions. Even if you've asked them already, we want to answer everything to let you know all there is to know about the world's first and greatest All Monkees radio station.
Yes.
So, we want to start with the person who actually was on the station last. You were the last of the current air personalities to join.
I'm a year and 3 months in.
How would you describe your show, and how would you describe the radio station?
All right, well, as you all know, I run the Frodis Room, and, Frodis Love. And I describe my show, we did this on the interview, but I like to portray the Frodis Room as a Monkees episode for radio. I have characters in my show, we do skits, we do themes, and I'm a radio guy at heart. I've always been a radio guy, but the premise of the Frodis Room is to kind of maybe make it like a Monkees episode for the radio. That's what I thrive for. What was the second part of the question? My short-term memory's failing.
And how, in your mind, do you describe or how you see the radio station as being?
I love it. I was one of the initial guys with the Kickstarter. I think I threw in $300 in the Kickstarter program because I believed in the project, and I thought this was a great. We have Beatle Radio, we have, they're all
Elvis Radio,
right? Everything.
Radio.
And why should we not have this? So I was one of the guys who initially threw in like $300, and in return for that, you guys were going to offer me a 1-hour DJ slot. Well, you guys got a lot more than you bargained for there.
We're still tallying the bill.
Yeah.
300 per show. We didn't.
Oh, geez, no. Anyway, so I'm very entrenched in MMR right now. I'm thrilled to try to make this go into the future with giant steps, and we just need to get the listenership up there, and we do ads, and the ads pay for the station, and the more listenership we have, the less that any of us have to actually throw into this. We can relax and make it our own thing and not have to really monetarily. And all we really need is the listeners. We need you guys to tune in, and that's as simple as that.
Before I even began knowing that I was going to do the Monkees interview show on the station, there was a few jocks already, we call them jocks in the old days, they're air personalities already in place. And one of those was the gentleman right in the middle here, Scott Catton. How did you learn that there was going to be a radio station? How did you get involved, and what was your mindset on how you were going to do your show? It's a 3-parter.
Oh, okay. I'll try and remember all of it too. Welcome everyone, first of all, both you in attendance and all you watching online on the YouTube and all the other Monkees outlets out there. So thanks a lot for watching and listening to us. And we are on, of course, for free on internet radio, of course, on Live 365, Streama, and Roku if you have that device on your TVs. And we're on 24/7. We've got essentially new shows that run 12 hours a day, then they're repeated on that. So if you miss it the first go around, you can catch it when it comes around next. And my show currently airs weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and also repeats 6 to 8 p.m., and you can also make requests. And what's that request line again, Charles?
It's, hi Scott, we want a request.
Okay.
Is there actually a
I
request
think it's
line?
monkeemaniaradio@gmail.com. I think Alan Williams, who runs the station, he's in North Carolina, he's the main man in charge. I believe that's at monkeemaniaradio@gmail.com, or my personal email is crazycat66@yahoo.com, if anyone wants to make any requests on my show. And if we don't already have them in their ever-expanding large database, we can always try and find them and add them in there for you. And yes, we do play some relatively obscure stuff, right, Mick?
Yeah, I know I do.
And he plays a lot of his great stuff from his band, Loose Lute, in there as well, of course. So there's many different categories, 6 or 7 different categories out there. And it's, of course, Monkees, solo Monkees, the family members of the Monkees, of course, influences like the Beatles, of course, singer-songwriters, Neil Diamond, Carole King, that stuff, opening acts, and 6 Degrees of, other different things. So there's many different broad range of categories of songs you can pick and choose from, and we pride ourselves in playing a lot of music you're not going to hear on regular terrestrial radio. You're not going to hear Mike Nesbitt's Grand Ennui on the regular radio, unfortunately. There's an example there. But we play a lot of the solo guys' music, whether you like Mike, Mickey, Davey, or Peter stuff, and you can send the requests and keep them coming in, and we can air them in, and it's you never know what you're going to hear and when. And that's the mixed bag of whoever show you're listening to. I believe there's 7 of us currently on the air, and it's so it's good even if you tune in for a few minutes to sample us out to see what it's like, and you refer all to your friends and everyone, the Monkee fans or otherwise. And it's not boring radio, not the same old stuff. You want to tune in on that too, and it's and what was the other question there,
Well,
Charles?
you were on the ground floor. You were in the genesis of the station. How did you hear about it, and how were you approached to be on the air for it?
Oh, okay. It's what it was probably like 5 or so years ago. I attended a Comic-Con in Tennessee, and I happened to meet Alan Williams down there, and he's the one who runs the station. And I went there because both Mickey Dolenz and Mike Nesbitt made an appearance there. And it's we had a get-together with some fans after the convention ended, and he must have remembered that I told him I worked in the radio, and I've worked in TV and radio for over 25 years, and he must have remembered that he said that. Then a couple years later, he threw me this idea, and he said, "Oh, do you want to be part of Monkeemania Radio? It's something he's thinking about doing." I said, "Yeah, okay, sure." And it's, but just let you know, none of us are being paid. It's all volunteer, and that's why we have some ads running or the Kickstarter process of funds going in to keep the station on the air. It's not to pay us, it's to keep us on the air. And we all love it and have a fun time doing it. And so that's essentially how I got started with Monkeemania Radio, because it's kind of like a big fluke thing, being at the right time at the right place, because I don't get to Tennessee all that often. And like I said, there's 3 of us here, a 4th person, Jody Ritson, who sadly don't think can join us. She's busy with Mickey Dolenz. And there's 2 other DJs currently on the air. Doug Hubler at the Uncle Duck Show, he's from Tennessee. Marty Ross, one of the former New Monkees, he's in Los Angeles, California. And Alan Williams himself is from North Carolina. I'm from the Boston, Massachusetts area. Charles is from Connecticut. Nick is also from Massachusetts as well, another part. And so we're all in different areas, and also I part Canadian as well, so we kind of represent our Canadian listeners as well, playing some of the different stuff out there too. So I like to reach out not to just the American listeners, but worldwide audience, the ones in England, Canada, and everything too. So
Thank you, Scott.
is that about it?
That's great.
Okay, thanks.
You're dismissed.
And also listeners and viewers out there, you can get through the mail or at any of our appearances. At any of the either local record conventions and stuff, we have the distinct pleasure of offering free Monkeemania Radio bumper stickers. There we have the larger ones here, and we also have smaller ones we have as well. And also we have some distinct Monkeemania Radio magnets here that carries the character of Jim Carrey for the movie Dumb and Dumber, and it's got some kind of fabulous message on here that says, he's quoting, "If they got the Monkees, they were a major influence on the Beatles," says his character, Lloyd Christmas. Exclusively friends right here on MonkeemaniaRadio.com. And also we're selling brand new Monkeemania Radio swag bags for the low cost of only $5. Only $5, friends. That's it. That's all we ask.
Unlike these guys, I was also in radio for many years, in college radio, and I hated it. First of all, I don't have a radio voice. I hated talking to a glass in front of me in a radio station. I love talking to people. I'm a party MC, DJ by trade, and I always love a crowd where I can see the people nodding and smiling and laughing and making faces and rolling their eyes, all of the above. But when I heard there was a Monkees radio station, I said, yeah, I would love to be on the air, but I want to do the interview show. I want to be able to every single week bring in, whether it's the Ultimate, whether it's Mickey and Bill Chadwick and Chip Douglas and James Lee Stanley, or to that person who was a lighting man for Peter on one show. I wanted to reach the gamut because no matter who it was that I was interviewing, and still am, I'm getting a story that I never heard and the listeners never heard. And that was my goal for Monkeemania Radio's the Monkees interview show with your host Charles Rosenay. Hey. The reason was I really wanted to introduce everybody to people, some of which I met, some of whom I knew, some of whom everyone knew, but others who were a part of the history of the Monkees in one way or another. Danny G, who toured with Peter and was his sound man in Japan. Great stories, that type of thing. And every week now for over 2 years, we've had a different show every weekend. It's on at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and then it's repeated on Wednesday. And I think this week it was on maybe all week because we did a series of Monkee interview shows which were directly related to this convention. So we interviewed Mick, we interviewed Gary Summers, who was the producer of the show. We interviewed a lot of the guests who were going to be here, and of course Jody. So all leading up to this was a whole week of specials. We hope to do that again if there's any other conventions where MMR is represented, where Mickey will be at, or any of the people associated with the Monkees. But if that never happens again, you guys, and whoever's listening to this, on streaming, this was history, because not only was Mickey there, Bill Chadwick is there. The band Zilch played, who are phenomenal in a New England Monkees tribute band. Mick's band Lou Salute played. Bill Chadwick jammed with Lou Salute, and of course the Monkeemania radio station crew. So this was a very special weekend for me, and I hope you guys felt that same thing. I know most of you came because Mickey was here. So you got dinner, but you also got the hors d'oeuvres, and you also got the dessert, and you also got everything else that was, Monkeemania related around the thing. Have any of you listened to the Monkees interview show on the station? Have any of you heard that? Yeah, so continue to listen, and if you have ideas for future guests who I haven't interviewed, I'm very welcome to it. Scott gave you the email, but you can also go to the Monkees
Facebook page.
Yep. Thank you. There's a group called Monkeemania Radio. Join it. We want thousands. We probably have thousands already. We want thousands more. Invite a friend. You know a Monkees fan who couldn't make it here today, who would love to hear about all these things that go on. Have them also become a member of the Monkees Facebook page.
Also, how many of you people out there have actually heard of Monkeemania Radio? First of all. All right, good. There's
just about everyone.
Yeah, just about everyone.
Except Eric.
Yeah. Well, now you know.
How many are on the Facebook group page? Oh, great.
All right, so we got to get the ones who didn't raise their hand on that page. Just go to Facebook and hit the like, all right?
You just got to sample the station, that's all we ask.
Yeah.
And you might turn it on and hear a different version of Pleasant Valley Sunday that you never heard and go, wow, I can't believe I've never heard this before. And why do I say that? Because I've heard stuff on Mick's show and on Scott's show, Davey solo. How do I not know that? And I'm always amazed at what's played. But then you'll hear something by Barry Williams. And why are we hearing Brady Bunch? Well, there's that 6th degree of separation between the Monkees and whatever we're playing. There's always a connection. Maybe it's from 1967 and it charted at the same time. Maybe it's because it's a cover band covering the Monkees stuff. But there's always a great reason why you're hearing the stuff you're hearing. But I'd like to think, and this harkens back to college radio, guys, maybe you'll agree with me, that we're not there just to entertain, maybe to a small degree, to also enlighten, to play something that you might not have heard and walk away from there and say, oh, I want to hear more of this artist, or wow, I never knew that such and such.
And interjecting in that, a lot of people will come to me and say, I think people sometimes expect we're gonna play like hit after hit and Monkee and now, you guys may not know this, but we're actually regulated. We can only play under the moniker of the Rhino Monkees. We can only play 2 Monkees under the moniker of the Monkees.
Legit song.
2 cuts per hour by the Monkees.
That's it.
Right, so we interject with the live stuff, all the guys' solo works, so people that don't, if you're tuning in and expecting, Pleasant Valley Sunday Daydream Believer, Words, and all, we just can't do that, because we're regulated. I don't know, is it FCC or whatever it is?
Something like that.
I think people originally thought it was gonna be that.
Right, and it's not like that, and it can't be like that, but it's so much more that encompasses the phenomenon. I know in the Frodis room, now, here's a cool story. So, those of you who do listen to the Frodis room, I go kind of heavy on, I'm a big, back in the day, in the early 80s, I was the skinny tie with the skinny sunglass guy, the punker, and I would go to this place in Lansdowne Street to dance called Spit. It was a Spit in Metro. It was a dance club where they had all this new wave stuff. And this guy, Richard Karras, was the DJ there. At the end of the night, he's playing B-52s and XTC and Gang of Four and the Go-Go's and the Bangles. At the end of the night, every single time, he would play a Monkees song. And how does that fit in? Well, it absolutely does. I mean, a lot of people would say the Monkees could relatively be like pre-punk, Stepping Stone, like Gonna Buy Me a Dog. It correlates, and he got it. That DJ got it. So that's where you hear some of the oddballs on my show. I pick from all different genres.
I'm so glad you said that. You guys are all too young, but in 1981-82, we were bringing the Monkee convention from New Jersey to Connecticut, and I was going to produce one for the first time ever with Maggie McManus. Now, that's a very famous name in Monkee fandom because she published the Monkees business fanzine forever. And in the days before internet, it was the only way you knew where the Monkees were solo, where they were doing, Jones Boys, whatever. And so we didn't have a Monkees band for the convention. And I'm like, naive, I'm a kid, I'm still in college, just out of college. So, no worries, we'll put one together, I'll be Davey. Did you get this thing? So I was Davey in the band Monkeemania. And we had to play some pre-convention shows to get our chops down, to be in front of an audience and make sure we wouldn't embarrass ourselves at the convention. What did we do? We booked ourselves into the punk clubs, and we opened for these leathery guys who were sitting at the audience and were just real fun, and we were the opening act, and the club owners would come, when could we book you back? This is a pleasure. But in the crowd, everyone is pogoing and moshing to the Monkee songs that we were doing, because exactly what Mick said, the Monkees were pre-new wave, they were pre-punk, it's all great pop music, I mean, come on. And so it fit that mode. And I'd forgotten about that. I'd forgotten that we played the punk club. And look
at the way it's done. We got great country music from the Monkees. We got psychedelic music. We've got pop. We've got every genre and every category that fits this phenomenon. And I think that is, how many bands can you say that? You can't even really say that about the Beatles. There's 2 or 3 Beatle country songs. But in the Monkees, you had a guy who was, Mike, was so, he was country, and it
should be in the rock and roll.
Right, yes, right.
Just based on
his stuff alone, without question.
Anyone disagree with that?
No.
Right, and that's why that's so lame. Because it's really just a corporate fashion show. It's a joke.
It'll happen.
Yeah, well.
How they were created is the main backlash.
Well, they're the same people who played on the Monkees records also played on the Mamas and Papas and the Beach Boys and Elvis Presley. And all those guys are in. So
the wrecking crew, one of them. And also what Mick was referring to previously, those are for those of you not in the Boston, New England area, those are the clubs in the Boston area he was referencing earlier. So.
Who's furthest anyway? I know we have Canada. Where are you guys from? England.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Welcome. Thanks for attending our fabulous event.
Where are you from? Tom Jones, where are you from? Hawaii.
Wow. Thanks for coming. Thank you.
And for the people who are, listening to this.
We had Canada somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
Also Canada. What's great about this is they've come together for this weekend because of the Monkees. And you know, that lives on, and because of people like you guys, and hopefully the radio station, the spirit of the Monkees, the music of the Monkees, and the magic of the Monkees will live on forever. And so, a hand for you guys.
That's for you guys. You guys made this event, especially those of you who traveled a long distance. I mean, this was great to see and meet all of you this weekend. Come by my booth and say hi and have a laugh, and you guys are great. Appreciate you all.
Yeah, we very much appreciate all of you coming. Thank you very much.
And we'd love to answer questions that you might have about Monkeemania Radio or about Monkees history. But before we do, the gal raising her hand, itching to ask the first question. For those of you who don't know, she has the only Monkees museum in the United States, right in Connecticut. And if you're driving and came here, make sure you visit her museum on the way back with Peter Tork's piano, with the Monkees jukebox, with the Monkees pinball machine, and endless pieces of memorabilia. And you
Very
have a question
fascinating.
for us? Yes, Catherine McCabe, sorry.
With Mickey Dolenz' hat on, may I add.
First, I want to thank you guys for what you're doing. I mean, the hours and hours and hours that you put in, and you're not getting paid. I mean, you've worked more hours at this radio station than some people work at their jobs. And I just want to tell you that your dedication is admirable. And I appreciate all that you guys do to keep the Monkees alive, which the Monkees are all dear to all of our hearts. Yes, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That's so
guys.
beautiful, thank you.
And then I do have a question. So you're on 24 hours, you do 12 hours and then repeat. Is there a theme or a catch to each different DJ who's on radio? So like Charles, you do your
Strictly interviews, yeah.
You know, Scott, what is your catch thing? Nick, what is your catch
Oh, great question. What makes your show different than another show that's on the air?
Well, I just try and make it a mix of different stuff on it, make it try and different and everything. Not necessarily basically a theme of anything at the moment, but I try and just make it an interesting mixed bag of different music that'll keep people tuned in, as I don't want them tuning out. I don't want people sleeping while they're listening to our station. That's why every one of our shows is different. There's reasons for people to tune in. Like even if they tune in for a few minutes to sample us out, that's all we ask folks. Just you bring in your friends and tell us we're here. So.
And Mick, I think I asked you that, right, when we interviewed you. What makes your show different than?
Yeah, well, but again, it's like I try, like I said, being a radio guy, I have characters, and I have themes, and I write out the show. I may go a little too far sometimes for what I'm getting paid, but nonetheless, I'm having a good time with it, and Mr. Schneider does send his love, everybody. So. He's sorry he
Thanks,
couldn't be
Mr.
here.
Schneider.
He couldn't be here today.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Schneider's in the Frodis room. He rarely leaves the Frodis room unless Bunny takes him out on a date somewhere. And he helps me pick out all the stuff. We do the show together, and we imbibe in a lot of combustibles in the Frodis room. And, me and Mr. Schneider get down every Saturday, and we do our thing for premiere episodes. And he does send his love to you guys. He's very sorry he couldn't be here this weekend.
Yes.
I've got a question. So first of all, thank you for all you
I forget that fake accent. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, no, I did really appreciate fans around the world. And I know you've talked about the constraints you have with the programming, and obviously Mick, you've got some help from Mr. Schneider, but maybe for the other two then, is it really easy to come up with your show, or do you have to get the equipment to write slots? Does it just flow? How
I'll
do
go
you put
first.
it together?
Great question, because an interview show is completely different than programming music. My hardest part is not doing an interview, because whether I know everything about the person or nothing, I'm sitting and asking the questions that I think my listeners would be asking as well. Larry King, who was a great interviewer in his prime, said the same thing when he did his radio show and did interviews. He doesn't want to sometimes know about the person he's speaking to, so he can not leave out asking a question that the audience might have asked, but that he knew. The harder part is getting the people to commit to do the interview. Sometimes it's really daunting to some people. There's 3 or 4 people who I've been trying to interview now forever who said yes, and I can't nail them down. So for me, doing the interview show, it's not the actual doing the show, getting it aired. In fact, I have a blast with it. I get to ask questions. I videotape every show on Zoom, so I have my own personal collection now of everyone I've interviewed, which is great. And maybe someday we'll put it on YouTube so everyone can actually see the interviews. But then I present it to the station, which is Alan Williams, our producer, and he inserts music. So in the beginning of the show, if we mention a song, I say, great, we'll take a break and listen to that in the middle. And then at the end of the show, for those of you who know it, I'll always ask the person I'm interviewing what their favorite Monkees song is. And, 9 out of 10 is something we know, but when it's that 1 out of 10 that it's a surprise, I'm like, yeah, and we play that and come back. But nailing them down is the hardest part because sometimes they're in Australia or England and the timing doesn't, coincide. And other times they're just like, all right, we'll get to it. And it's just not the easiest thing to get them to commit. Other times it's like, hey, so-and-so, I just got your email. I'd love to, great, are you available tonight? I go, yeah, and then we do it instantly. So that's a lot different than programming a radio show that's music dominated. And your show put together?
Well, like I said, I try and put a mixed bag of different music together, some stuff, songs that people don't regularly hear on the radio. Like I said, we do take requests, not only song requests, but we can take listeners' suggestions and complaints, what you like and what you don't like about the station, and that'll just make our station better. But we want to make it stand out from all the other competition that's out there in both regular terrestrial radio and internet radio and all the podcasts out there too, because there's so much variety out there in terms of audio content or even stuff, video stuff on the internet. I want to make it something different for the listeners or the viewers out there for to come in and, hey, sample us, and if you like us, maybe you'll tell a friend or two about it. So once again, Monkeemania Radio at gmail.com is, I believe, is the request line if you want to send us an email or not about that. So
and I also have a Frotis Room, Mick at the FrotisRoom.com for my show if anyone wants to throw me a line in there just for the Frotis Room specifically.
And mine is crazycat66 at yahoo.com. Well, that's my email address. Personal one, crazycat66 at yahoo.com with 2 T's and 2 6's. CRAZYCATT66 at yahoo.com.
Better than 666.
My email is I'm a fan of Scott Catton and Mick Lawless.
Thank you. Thank you, Charles. Thank you.
But to make it really easier, you guys can always send an email to monkeesradio@gmail. That's the easiest one, monkeesradio@gmail.com. We had touched upon earlier the fact that, we're playing 2 legitimate Monkee songs, whatever, per hour. And when we started, that was a big concern. Will people expect to listen to nothing but the hits? Hang on one second. And what we realized is everyone can just listen to their CDs. They can listen to their own Spotify. If we were that station that just played the hits, the songs over, everyone would listen for the first day. And then beyond that, it would not be of interest because now it's on a whole nother level and it keeps
right. And I think a great thing is if you go into our library under just a simple thing like under the cover songs category, there is so many great Monkee covers and by bands that are just so obscure that you don't. But like one of my favorites is She Hangs Out by an artist called Tim King, and who's Tim King? But he does this like Steely Dan jazz kind of version of She Hangs Out, which it's a Frotis favorite, and I just think it's a wonderful piece of music, and it's such a great. We have our library is really vast with these little tidbits of Monkee treats that
we've added to it recently. I mean, I think we brought in a lot of artists from '86 because that was the year Monkees reunited. Yeah, you had a question.
Yeah. Exactly about what you're talking about. Mick and I have talked about this before, but I was curious. You say that under the Rhino umbrella, you can only play 2 songs.
Per hour.
You just mentioned She Hangs Out. Now that is on a Rhino record, But if it's a different person, you can play it?
And anything that's not on the Rhino label, so the Tim King, what I was referencing is a very independent release, and just
Well,
totally.
what about like Monkees bootlegs that are out there?
We skirt around the danger zone on those. We get quite a bit of that, and we can. That's how we get away with it. So we will play. We'll play like Pleasant Valley Sunday, the studio version, and then we can play a live version of Papa Jean's Blues or something that really isn't an official thing. But if it sounds good, the soundboard recording. That's kind of how we get away the two per hour. We try to interject it with other things.
Or sometimes put it as different names like Mike, Davey, Mickey.
Yeah, like
calling it the Monkees, or calling it the
right.
Guys,
So
or
we cheated the other day and put
Don't air
Mike
that.
and the boys.
Don't air that. We never cheat. Never
Yeah.
ever.
No, we didn't cheat at all.
But you get it, yeah.
But it's all for you, the listeners.
Yeah, it's all you guys.
Maria?
So I just have a comment. So I listen to the Produce Room every Saturday, and I think it's so wonderful because in my world, the Monkees are my world. And so for me to get out of that world takes a lot. And so when I listen to the Produce Room, I'm like exposed to all these new artists, and I love them. And so things like people like Jackie Lomax and the Grassroots and Piper,
Yeah.
and it just expanded my world of music. And for that, I really appreciate that. I mean, that's like the other wonderful thing because he's tying in, Mick is tying in all the things that are related to the Monkees. And I can just speak for myself, but I'm sure for the others as well. We, maybe stay in our world a little bit in the Monkee world, but there is wonderful music beyond that, and I just appreciate being exposed to that.
We succeeded.
Yeah.
We succeeded because you just summed up the goal is to play Monkees music and to maybe spread listenership of stuff they might not have heard and exposed.
We don't just want to be a standard, typical jukebox.
Right, and Alan Williams, we were having a discussion a few weeks ago, and Alan says, well, we kind of are really free-form radio with an umbrella. We don't, we're not going to play Iron Maiden or things like that, but we
Unless they do it Monkees.
yeah, you're right. Unless they, yeah, exactly,
You better believe
exactly,
they play Iron
and of course no bash at those guys or anything like that. Right, but we can expand the horizons, and like Maria just said, the artists I play, again, my guys is like, that these guys had Monkees records in their collection, and that's another criteria I kind of shoot for. It doesn't have to be a total 100% Monkees relevancy. It just has to have a little twinge in there, and songwriting and lyrical hooks and musical hooks are a big thing with me. And if it's pop, power pop or pop music related, I'll try to throw you some Bangles or some XTC or something like that, because it is correlated. It is.
Absolutely. I do a lot of conventions where it's not Monkee related, and I get to meet a lot of celebrities and rockers. And here at the show, Cherie Curry from the Runaways, and I came up and go, "Were you on Monkees?" Yeah, I'm afraid to ask sometimes. Were you on Monkees? Are you kidding? Of course. Aren't we all? We grew up loving the Monkees. And the guys from Megadeth and Anthrax, I've asked, hard rockers, thrash rockers, heavy metal people, and I'm just waiting for Iron Maiden to cover "I Want to Be Free."
That would be something. Yes, definitely friends, definitely.
Guys, they said they like the Monkees.
They all do. I've never come up. I'm a Beatles guy, and I've had the Beatles. All right, it goes without saying. But when I ask Monkees, their faces light up. They're like, can't wait to admit it and talk something about it,
I've even seen pictures online of Ozzy Osbourne. Even has some Monkees CDs in his collection. Hard to believe.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's sad that the stigma still has to stick with the guys to some degree, to the uninitiated. I mean, really, the stigma should just be broken and thrown in the trash.
Exactly, 100%.
There's. Again, like I referenced earlier, the Mamas Papas and the Beach Boys, they all made the albums the same way. I mean, Glenn Campbell played on 1 million Beach Boys songs and played on 1 million Monkees songs. And, where's the relevancy? Well, there it is. But,
Have you all seen the YouTube, the video of U2? They were doing Daydream Believer. The Edge is trying to sing it. And then he invites up Davey, because Davey was in the audience at a U2 show. Guys, if you haven't seen this, go to YouTube, punch it in.
Yeah.
Davey Jones sings Daydream Believer. He goes up there. It's a different key, mind you. And Davey crushes it. If anyone on the planet says, oh, well, you know, it was a cabaret singer, if anyone ever downs Davy, you have them watch Davy Jones join YouTube for Daydream Believer, and it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That was Fanboy Expo. That was in
Fanboy Expo, exactly.
at Knoxville.
That's the one.
And you would believe the celebrities that were coming up to Mike and Mickey's table to have
Other
pictures
celebrities
and meet them. Yes.
going up to the
There were
Monkees, sure.
tons of them always that had the line stop because these people wanted to come up and meet
They
them.
got it. They knew
And
it. The
there's
other
the-
musicians knew.
Yeah, and there's the Tony Dow and the Jerry Mathers picture, you know, after they had their little interview and they were off to the side, you know, where those two came up and wanted to meet them. But I was going to say that to you, okay? In the very beginning, the Monkees weren't looked at like they knew what they were doing and not as a group and didn't know how to play anything, you know. Do you think they actually got that recognition and acceptance when other people like Alice Cooper and all these other celebrities started coming, the Mamas and the Papas started coming up to them, the Beatles, inviting them places, wanting to be with them, wanting to sing with them?
Well, the Beatles got it right away. I think the Beatles got it right away in the era, in the 60s. The Beatles knew what the Monkees were, and they didn't poo-poo the idea. They embraced it. And, of course, John Lennon's favorite remark is the Monkees are a lot like the Marx Brothers, which, you know, it's the television show. You know, I think, you know, as Mickey said yesterday, that there's an endorsement, you know, that it's not something to look disparaging at all. So the Beatles got it right away in the 60s, and they were champions of the Monkees. And
but to acknowledge them as a real group.
yeah, well, I still think, again, to the uninitiated, that stigma unfortunately still does and probably will.
Oh, they're just a TV band.
Forever exist. I mean, but we all know better, and you know, that's the really important part, and it's your job to maybe, you know, like with Loose Salute, my band, the Mike Nesmith band. I look at Loose Salute as carrying the torch forward. You know, we got 3 Monkees that have, God rest their souls, are not with us anymore, and we have people aging here, and you know, it's an inevitable part of what happens in a lifetime. I'm hoping that Loose Salute can continue into the future to carry the torch forward for you guys. Now, when I got off the stage yesterday, and I know most of you guys were in the room yesterday, right? Saw the Loose Salute show, the guys who were here. I got to tell you, what made me incredibly happy was, and this was pure and honest and genuine and with love, that you guys all came up to the stage and wanted pictures. We spent a half hour taking pictures after the show yesterday with all you guys.
I paid them to do it.
And that, I cannot tell you what that means to me, because I've been doing Loose Salute since 2004. You guys, you really sent me over I got high on you guys yesterday.
It was great.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for that. I mean, when you come up and you're asking me to sign CDs or to take pictures, I have fulfilled the premise of what Loose Salute is supposed to be. I have done it for you, and you are giving back, and that made me incredibly happy. So going forward, I'm hoping that Loose Salute can kind of carry the torch forward, as well as bands like Zilch. You know, David Tessia's great band. You know, let's face it, there's not a lot of us really doing this kind of thing. And, you know, if you can appreciate it and show me the kind of love you showed me yesterday, you know, I can't even put words on it. When Bill Chadwick came up on the stage with us, I can't put a price on that. I cannot put a price on what happened when he came up and sang those 2 songs with us. I was literally high off that with no Frodis involved. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Mick, it was absolutely fantastic, so thank you, and really, really emotional.
It was. I was very emotional, and it's like, here's this guy. When I became fast friends with Bill, I've only really known him a couple months, but we talk like 2-3 times a week on the phone. He's like a brother to me now, and I don't know. I'm just, I thank you for that, though. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, she was almost in tears. Yeah, she was real moved by it.
Yeah.
Can I just build, because we've talked about the Beatles, I have got a very quick anecdote, and it's only back last month, and we're talking about the Monkees getting the respect they deserve. I was at London Palladium where Mickey Dolenz did a James Burton tribute, and it was amazing. But actually what was amazing was when Mickey was singing, he did 3 songs, and I was looking up at the Royal Box, and Ronnie Wood, obviously from the Stones, was there, and he'd been up and he was sitting up there, and he was looking when Mickey was singing, and he was singing along, and I've got video of this and discussed it with Mickey. He was singing along to I'm a Believer.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Great stuff.
A song that's in all of our DNA. Yes.
Yeah, see,
We're all believers.
growing up, I didn't know that the Wrecking Crew played on the Beach Boys songs. I mean, that was a revelation. And as such, if people understood that correlation of the Wrecking Crew played behind the Beach Boys and played the Mamas and the Papas and Grass, whatever the bands were on and on and on, I think it would have made a difference to how people perceived the Monkees at the time. Because in many cases you were just hearing the vocalists of those great bands, and it was a background band doing the recording. But then when they went on the road, it was the band. And when the Monkees went on the road, it was the Monkees. So it's sad that there is still that stigma. And what we're doing is we're preaching to the choir. So we're saying it over and over to the same people who know. And, you know, it's the people who don't know will never get it. And that's a sad part of it.
And there's also a great documentary on the Wrecking Crew, too, by the way. You can check it online or on Netflix and any of the other outlets is there as well, too. And also comes with the 2 DVD set, which is a great bonus stuff on there, too, including Mike Nesbitt is featured on the documentary as well. So it's well worth checking out.
One of the main members of the Wrecking Crew was Tedesco.
Yes, Tommy Tedesco, yes.
And his son Danny actually did the video, this whole show on the Wrecking Crew.
It's highly recommended documentary if you like music primarily of the 60s and some of the 70s as well, too. So.
Any other questions? Yes.
One stupid one. That's not the same Alan Williams.
It's not the same Alan Williams who's dead.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alan.
He was the Beatles' first manager, booking agent.
Yeah, that's what I was like. That can't be the same guy.
Who
It's gotta
wrote
be
for
about
the man who gave
Long
him-
lost relative.
When I started with the Monkees radio station, I would always kid him about that. I would say.
We're contacted by Ghost.
You know, I would say, I loved meeting you 30 years ago in Liverpool. I would always do that. Yes.
I worked at school, and so whenever I had a chance, I'll bring up the MMR radio.
Yeah.
Thank you,
and the
thank you.
videos, and I play for the kids, you know. So a lot of them have asked me, can you get Mickey's autograph? And I've done it for the kids, you know, and brought it back, and they're thrilled. So I try to put it out there to, you know, to keep that
Bring
going
them
too.
stickers.
Like
Give out
the-
stickers to the kids. For
Yes.
There we go, because
Yeah.
like the Hall of Fame, we've kind of given up on that,
Yeah.
I think, you know.
I
For a
think,
few
you
years
guys are
of
gonna
writing.
disagree with me, I think it's just as cool to have them not in there at this point, because I think it's a
No.
farce.
Yeah.
They're in the Vocal Hall of Fame, the Pop
Yeah.
Music Hall, they're in the other Hall of Fame. They'll be. It's just a matter of time. They will be. Yeah.
I appreciate all you guys as well, and I'm on board with what you're saying, because I too have listened many times and heard other bands covering Monkees songs. I thought, wow, that's really good. And so it has also broadened my horizon with the music, but I was just going to say, of course, in here we're all Monkees fans, and I've loved them since I was 14, and but not everybody gets it, because I've been told, has anybody else had this happen? I've been told several times, I'll tell people, like, oh, who's your favorite? Oh, I love the Monkees, and people have actually told me, quote unquote, wow, we can't believe you're admitting that.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Nonsense.
Well, they're not in the know, they don't know any
So glad
better.
you said that. So some of you know my history. I've been producing Beatles conventions since the 70s. I do a Beatles tour to Liverpool since the 80s, and I published a Beatles magazine for 20 years called Good Day Sunshine. And I would go on the tours, and I would DJ one night at the Cavern or whatever. I'd have fun with the people, and I would include Monkee songs. I wouldn't include Rolling Stone songs or Kinks or who. I would throw in a few Monkees songs. People, why? And I love the Monkees. And I would have to be that apologist. I would have to explain why they were such a great pop group and why I love them. And less through the years. Back then, you know, in the 70s and 80s, before they, you know, but less and less. And I think most of the people who have any clue, who read any magazines and have read any or seen any, I think they're on board with understanding the Monkees' legacy and how important they were, not just to us fans, but to so many musicians who picked up a guitar to play, you know, Stepping Stone and everything else.
I've only been playing the guitar for 5 years, and I attempt to do these Monkee songs, and I've always loved the music, but since I've been doing the guitar, oh my God, Circle Sky, that movable F chord, I'm ruining this song.
That's full of R chords. It's not an easy one. Yeah.
And I have even more of an appreciation for what an amazing artist Michael Ness is. How are you doing that? And I saw Zilch doing it. So we were like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Well, Nick, that's why I did Davy, because I only had to do maracas and
There you go.
And skate backwards.
There you go.
You know, but it's crazy, but their shows sell out. Like Mickey's shows sell out.
No, and well, it should have.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So
He's a legend, and we should see our legends while we still can.
Yeah.
Yes,
Great.
exactly.
Whether it's Tom Jones,
Yep.
or whether it's Mickey,
Yeah.
Also
or
amazing.
Eagle Robert and all the rest of them.
you
Yep.
name it. Yeah, our legacy artists.
Now, how did most of you people out there find out about Monkeemania Radio?
Jody.
Jody.
Jody Ritson? Okay, she's the fourth member of her quartet that couldn't be here at the moment, so.
Yeah. At Mickey shows, yeah.
Yeah.
Conventions, people handing out cards and things like that.
Yeah, well, that's what we all do that. Yeah.
So that's how I had to get my sticker. I had to give money to start the
And
radio
Kickstarter.
station.
Yeah.
T-shirts.
But
and
you know
other
what? The great thing, the
different stuff like that.
Kickstarter campaign was a.
We should do more of that.
Yeah. And the Kickstarter campaign was a major success. I mean, we met the goal well within the time frame, like weeks before the time frame. And so that means you guys wanted it, or you guys, believed in it.
And we say you can listen to it worldwide. Is that true? Can you hear it in England, Monkeemania Radio?
Yeah, it's easy in England. I think in some countries it's harder, but it's very easy in England.
That's what I'm hearing. Some countries it's kind of hard to get, but I know it does go to England, Canada.
Yeah.
And we can hear it in Connecticut too? Yeah.
I'm told.
Yeah. But once again, send out any of your requests and anything you'd like to hear on there, because you know that sadly a lot of regular radio stations are not going to play requests, or especially the obscure requests, but we'll try and do our best here at Monkeemania Radio.
Can we watch it on the smart TV? Is there a way to put it on the smart TV?
Roku,
Roku,
if you have a
yeah.
Roku device,
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to answer that.
Roku, and of course Live 365 and Streama for all you listeners and viewers out there.
Well, thank you, though, for all your time you put into it.
Got any questions? Anybody
Final
else? John?
question.
John, you got one?
What's the best way to listen? So you don't come to a
With your ears, sir.
Try
listening with your nose, it smells.
No, so it's not on your actual radio. You got to go on it's internet radio, and it's an app called Live 365, and you just download the app, and there's about 1,000 stations on there. So you just search Monkeemania Radio, and this logo here will pop right up, and you just click it, and you're in. Very simple. Yep.
Just even in your address bar, you can put in Monkeemania
Right,
Radio.
just in your Google search, Monkeemania
that's it,
Radio,
yep.
hit the link and you're in. So it's pretty simple. Or I gave you a Frodis Room sticker, frodisroom.com. You go to frodisroom.com. There's also a live link to the live station.
I want to throw in a plug. By this time next year, hopefully I will have a Monkees book out. So hopefully if we do this again, we'll be able to share one with you.
Book of lists.
No, very different. But thank you for saying that, because that leads me into being able to share that. I've written a book called the Book of Top 10 Beatles Lists, where 64 celebrities gave me their favorite Beatles songs, Beatle list, Beatle. Thank you for holding those up. Yeah.
There we go.
And I'll be at my table for another half hour, and then I'm heading back. So if anyone wants to stop after the panel and say hello, I'd be honored to sign one for you. Mick's table's got everything from Loose Salute. You to tell them yourselves.
I got a Loose Salute. I don't have many left, to be honest with you. I got about 5 Loose Salute CDs, and I want to thank you guys who purchased one. Thank you, John. I have a lot of neat stuff, but if anyone does want a Loose Salute CD, because I believe I was telling Maria this, I think there's only like 10 left of the initial run of the ones we're selling here, and that's it. And if I decide to do another run, then it's all because of you guys. So anybody who wants a Loose Salute CD, come on by and see me and get one of the remaining ones that are on my table. Yeah.
And whereas Mick and I sell our doubles and sell merch, this guy has probably the second largest collection after Catherine, and it's all in storage and all hidden.
Oh my goodness.
And he doesn't know half of it, but someday he might actually take it out on display.
A nice display, that would be certainly fabulous. Yes, indeed. Thanks, Charles. And once again, for all you people in attendance here and all you fine people watching on the internet out there, we've got brand new exclusive Monkeemania Radio bags, and they're only for the low cost of only $5. I'd say so. And we also have free bumper stickers if some of those people want to get them through the mail. And we've got small stickers here as well. And we also have exclusive magnets as well, too, featuring the caricature of Jim Carrey for the movie Dumb and Dumber. And one of his famous quotes, as I mentioned earlier. So make sure to pick up that free swag and the other stuff on our website as well.
Guys, join us in thanking Isla for doing the sound in the room.
Yeah.
And we hope you've enjoyed the panel of Monkeemania Radio. Mick Lawless, come on. Scott Catton. Charles Rosenay.
Yeah.
And you guys, thank
All right.
you. Yourself a nice round of applause.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.